this episode of Car Warriors. It's North Cal versus SoCal as they take on a 1986 Corvette. And one of the hardest challenges yet.
Bitch! Hold on.
It'll be a fight to the end.
Get out of here. You're serious? Now you're being like a bitch again. Being a bitch again?
And only one team will walk away with the ultimate prize.
One.
I'm Jimmy Shine, and I hold several land speed world records. I also run the best speed shop in Southern California. For me, it's all about style and power. I have searched for the best custom car builders in the country to take on my challenge. Create the ultimate automotive transformation in just 48 hours. Starting with 2 mystery cars. Woo! All right! A dream collection of parts, and with the help of my 2 lead mechanics, Brad Fanshaw, he's been customizing cars for 25 years, winner of both Ford and GM Design Awards, and is the owner of Von Speed Wheels. And Ray McClellan, he's the owner of Full Throttle Customs, specializing in tuning street machines that have in excess of 1,000 horsepower. They'll have just 48 hours to transform their cars from scrap
There's a part right there.
to show. The winner gets to keep their car. But first, they need to impress me. My shop, my rules. Nobody quits in this shop. It's time to gear up for battle. This is Car Warriors.
For this battle, from Woodcrest, California, Sledsville.
My shop, Sledsville, is all about building early traditional American vehicles. We take early American iron, 30s, 40s, 50s, changing them up and making a whole brand new vehicle out of them.
Southern California, man, that's the way we rock. Warm, a lot of girls, a lot of cars. SoCal.
Growing up in the culture of hot rods and customization, where it came from here in Southern California, we have that advantage because we're completely immersed in it all the time with every build, every competition. So I'm confident that Jimmy will see what we do, and it'll be a slam dunk.
From Fresno, California, Shinbone Alley.
My name is Jeff Ganglish. I own Shinbone Alley Exotic Cars and Paint. I've been in business 25 years, and we do custom cars. We do any kind of custom paint you want, airbrushing, the whole slew. Whatever you can think of, it comes out of Fresno, and it comes out good.
I like giving my customers something that a lot of the shops are incapable of giving them. They're looking for something special.
These guys are corn-fed. They know exactly what they're doing. They're the best at their industry. Kicking Fresno style, freaky.
All right, 2 new teams this week. Welcome to Car Warriors Shop. You guys are gonna have 48 hours to build these cars that I've selected for you. That's no easy gig, and I know that, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of help. My 2 lead techs. Guys, come on out.
Brad has been randomly assigned to assist the red team, and Ray has been randomly assigned to assist the blue team.
All right, Brad, Ray, let's have a look at these cars. That's right, guys. 2 1986 Chevrolet Corvettes.
Known as the new generation of Corvettes, the 4th generation of the car was the first all-new Corvette since 1963. Over 35,000 Corvettes were sold in 1986.
Now, as always on Car Warriors, we actually start off this competition with a challenge. The first team to get their cars on the lift, original engine out, placed in the box in front of their hoist, is going to get their choice from one of these 2 motors behind me here. To my right, 350 small block, single carbureted, 4-barrel, makes 350 horse. Should be enough. The motor to my left, however, 350 small block. It's got a dual quad system on it. It makes 445 horse. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, I hope you guys are rested up because the clock starts now.
go, guys. Come on.
Let's go.
Ignition, neutral. Ignition, neutral.
Competing in the engine challenge, I'm not really worried about it. We're familiar with Chevy because we build Chevy motors every day.
Open the hood. Hey.
Man, it's like on. And the main gig is get all the stuff out of the way so you can get hands onto that engine and just start boogieing.
Go, 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 go. Jump up there. There you go.
I need a flathead screwdriver. I think this engine challenge is going to be quite different than ones we've experienced in the past. Main reason being that everything is so compact in there. There's so much stuff in such a small area. I think it's going to take quite a bit of time.
Here, 13, ratchet. 13 and a 10.
Short socket, short socket.
Whoa. Short sockets? It's crazy madness trying to get the motor out. It's difficult when you're in a shop that's not your own, when you're trying to grab tools and you don't know where they're at.
Let's go.
He's got it. He's got it.
Even though the hood on this car is made out of fiberglass, it's still really quite heavy. These teams need to be real careful so they don't damage something when they take it all apart.
Clear. Come down. Okay.
Take it easy, guys. There you go.
All right, you got it.
Drop.
Both teams have managed to get their hoods off, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
One thing to keep in mind is that these Corvettes actually have the motors mounted down inside the chassis. The other cars we typically work on, the motor's up on top of the chassis. That's in an effort to keep the profile of these cars minimal, very sleek, very fast looking. These cars are just really complicated. That hood, the headlight assembly, everything has to come off first. The motor is tucked down between the frame rails. There's all kinds of emissions controls, heaters, AC systems, radiator. And it's all packed in such a small area. So actually working on these motors and trying to get one out, it's a bitch.
This has to be what's holding here.
This engine challenge is definitely a lot more difficult than we anticipated. Corvette motors fit in these cars like, it's like 10 pounds of in a 1 pound bag.
Get Jesse down there. He's got smaller hands.
That motor was in there tight, no room for your hands or anything to work, and get wrenches too. It's just very concealed, basically.
Leave that alternator on the back of it somehow. I don't know how the we're going to do that.
Because it's a very tight space. There's members and supports that are underneath the car that you don't normally find on average cars that had to be unbolted.
We're hitting on the firewall. The motor's got to come forward.
Can't come forward, and we got to get that down.
While the Shinbone Alley team struggles to disconnect their engine, on the other side of the garage, Sledsville has moved their engine hoist into place and preps to pull their engine.
Watch your face. Got to come down.
It looks like the red team's actually catching up, and looks like they're in the lead right now.
The drive line is what's keeping it. That motor's got to go forward. Somebody give me a pry bar, man.
All right. With both engine hoists in place, Sledsville and Shinbone Alley are in a virtual tie.
Drop the bolt. Nice.
Wait, no. We got two lines. Where's that saw?
It looks like the tranny cooler lines are holding it in.
Where's the Sawzall?
Feeling the heat, the blue team decides to tear it up.
Just grab the Sawzall and I start cutting wires, start cutting hoses, start cutting whatever they needed me to cut.
Think about what you're doing.
Come on.
Coming up.
I said I'll be over in a few minutes. I'll show you how to use it. Bitch! Yeah, we got some damage to the rim.
And later.
Essentially, they're with a power steering line. We can disconnect.
Now you're being like a bitch again.
Being a bitch again?
Yeah.
The teams from Fresno and Riverside are locked in a heated race to pull the engines out of the tight confines of their respective 1986 Chevrolet Corvettes.
Let's go.
Let them get the wires cut.
Think about what you're doing.
Come on.
Go ahead, go down.
After much haphazard cutting, the blue team has freed their engine and taken the lead.
We got to get right in the sweet spot.
There we go. Take it down.
All right, we'll just keep going. It sucks because you want to be ahead of the game. You want to just keep marching forward. But, you know, it's all right. We'll bounce back.
Fresno style!
All right, you guys, that was a pretty gnarly challenge. All right, Jeff, you're the team leader. You want to pick the motor you want?
445, the big motor! We got the big engine, 445 horse. It ought to be a screamer, so we're going to have a good time with it.
All right, so you chose the 445 horse 350. That one's yours. Gentlemen, that means the 350 horse is yours. Challenge is over. You know what that means? It means the parts cage is now open.
Oh, you got it.
In the Car Warriors parts cage, there's everything these teams need to build their Corvettes.
Bam!
Transmissions, body mods, seats, steering wheels, rims, and a wide selection of Hankook tires.
These are the V12 Hankooks. These 255 35s. So if we go with that big and little, we can do the 285s on the rear and the 255s up front. Give it a little bit of stagger look.
Sure.
Now that both teams have selected the parts they need, it's time to focus on the 4 essential elements of building a car: engine and transmission, suspension, body and paint, and interior. With Shinbone Alley pulling their engine first, they've taken the lead.
First of all, what's the overall theme that you're going for? Sleek street racer, Fresno style. As far as body modification,
we want to shave off the whole front bumper, make it just like one big smooth piece, and shave all the marker lights off.
Okay. What colors are you guys using? I'm going to spray the whole car copper, and then I'm going to spray some inlays in pearl white, and then pearl that with orange pearl, and then I'm going to lay a black inlay in that and do some dry brush. Okay, let's rock and roll, man.
Instead of sleek, Sledsville is going for throwback.
Stuff, what exactly are we doing there?
Trying to retro this car out and take it back 20 years into the 60s and get rid of its boxiness. So we want to sexy up the body lines, peep the fenders, possibly do a boat tail with the rear glass, mold all that in, get rid of the flip-up lights in the front, put the lights down in the grill area. And as far as paint, earth tones, golds, oranges, browns, that type of stuff. Corvette summer.
We're going to beat them with style.
That's right.
So I'm going to cover this down.
With a design now in place, Shinbone Alley now gets to work on all the remaining aspects of the car.
Just go with the gray insert and the gray vinyl.
While Sledsville still has to pull their engine.
Wait, what are we hooked up to here?
What size is that bolt?
To have a car that you're foreign to, that you don't know all the mechanics of the electrical, is a big obstacle.
This hose was holding up big time over here, both of them. Oh, tranny cooler lines right here. We need to get those up.
Yeah, there should be one bolt right there.
There we go.
No, we're ready.
Go for it, pull.
We got it done. We did it nicely. We unbolted as much stuff as we could, just in case we were going to have to reuse some of the stuff, because we weren't sure exactly what was in the parts bin.
Why don't we start assembling our motor?
After finally removing their engine, Sledsville is now on to the next task, putting their new one in. On the other side of the garage, Shinbone Alley preps to install their new engine.
As soon as they get the rest of the transmission stuff out of there, they're going to jump to the engine and transmission, get that all bolted up, get it ready to go back into the car. And hopefully, before that happens, we've got the bodywork done and going in the booth.
Apparently this thing's putting up a little more of a fight than I thought.
All I had to do was just pretty much cut that existing bumper and put the new rear bumper right on the cars. It was awesome.
While Shinbone Alley focuses on engine and body, on the other side of the garage, Sledsville's Kiwi struggles to put tires on the brand new rims.
That's a tire machine that's got a lot of bells and whistles on it. Pretty high tech. Bitch! Kiwi, I saw him over there. I said, I'll be over in a few minutes. I'll show you how to use it. This thing causing you fits? Yep. Kiwi didn't know how to use this machine, and now he's made a complete mess of the wheel. Well, looks like we finally got it off, but we got some damage to the rim. Man, I wish he would have waited, because now we're losing even more time. This is a huge problem.
Coming up.
I'm sorry, but I got to see how you guys...
Get the out of here.
You know, there's no reason to be a
And later.
You can take it in the booth like this and have a piece that's painted, or you can leave it out and have a piece that's not painted.
While Shinbone Alley surges on, trying to fit their engine in, the red team's Kiwi and Brad discuss a way to cover up the damage done to the rim caused by trying to mount the tire.
Pushed it on manually and it went on backwards.
We got a little damage here. So what we're gonna have to do is probably sand this lip down. Luckily, it's a square bead. We got lucky there, and we can probably paint it up once the tire's mounted up.
Yeah.
So get it repaired.
On the other side of the garage, Shinbone Alley deals with their fuel pump issue.
We're converting a injected car over to a carbureted car. Right now I'm taking the fuel pump out of the gas tank because we're putting in a motor that is not injected. We'll remove the fuel pump that's in the tank, and then we'll splice it so that it'll run direct straight into the fuel pump that's on the block. Manual. This is the fuel pump.
A fuel pump is used to pump fuel from the fuel tank to the engine and deliver it under low pressure to the carburetor or under high pressure to the fuel injection system. As Jeff continues to install the fuel pump, Sledsville moves on with their body plans.
We're going to fill this void in between these the stock plastics.
So you're going to peek it out.
Yeah, we're going to peek it out. So we're using the fiberglass enforced body filler to mold and shape, just like shaping a birthday cake.
They're actually painting this Corvette on the somewhere in the 1960s, the Mako Shark Edition, which has a bunch of points and fins and stuff on it. So I'm kind of on the fence right now. I'm just going to bite my tongue and see what these guys can do.
The red team gets to work. Both teams move forward on their builds. The red team advances in body and paint, while the blue team makes progress with their engine.
Engine's going in. We ran into a problem with the rotation of where the outlets are on the manual fuel pump.
It's not good. The fuel pump's hitting the frame.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's not going to go down. And
Yeah, you're never going to clear that.
yep, it's that
I
one.
can see it from right here. It's right in the corner of the motor mount.
I took the frickin' fuel pump out of the stinking tank. Why don't we just rotate the bottom of the fuel pump? There's screws right here. You're going to take those screws out, and you're just going to retime that. But listen. That way, right? No, you want to come this way. Don't let that thing come off. Just loosen it up and rotate it. Those things you can take the screws out of the bottom of, and you can actually time them. So we're just going to rotate the fittings where they're in the front of the motor, and then we can run the fuel up.
Although the fuel pump issue seems to be solved, Ray realizes they have another problem. They need a power steering line.
By chance, did you guys grab 2 power steering lines?
But we can look. Why'd you guys cut yours? They won the challenge, and they ruined their hoses in the process. They ruined all their wire looms. Hold on, hold on. Everything was just sliced and diced.
There it is.
Okay, well then those are the ones we pulled for ours.
So you don't need them?
Well, no, we don't know. That one is old. It's a real funny shape, and it may not fit because nothing else fits. So we grabbed it.
There was only 1 power steering line. And when we cut ours, we didn't grab the 1 power steering line.
So now we're or what?
Right now we're because they didn't cut theirs, but they won't give it up until they make sure theirs works. So, in other words, they'll come to us in the last couple hours and say, oh, here's your power steering line. I don't know what Brad is trying to pull right now, but if he wants to play that game, I'll remember that next time he needs help. I thought we were all here to play fair, but I guess that's not the case. Hey, Brad, does that one have an angle that'll work?
Yeah, because the new one comes just out of the back like that and curves around. The old one, it went like that. The new one goes in like that.
Well, what are you doing with your old one? Because we have a mile. There's like no obstruction whatsoever out of that
Okay,
pump.
well, let me get our motor in. We're going to drop it here in a few minutes, and then I'll know exactly, okay? And then I'll let you know.
Problem after problem.
While Ray is clearly frustrated, Brad and his team, Sledsville, have their own problems.
You see, our problem is the motor to the mounts, original mounts. The crankshaft pulley was hitting the power steering rack.
This is a big block mount. They got the same. Yeah. Go take a look. Just walk over and see what they're doing.
Are we allowed to?
Yeah, you're allowed to.
Yeah. At Brad's suggestion, Sledsville's Dominic and Joe visit the blue side of the garage to examine their motor mounts and find clues on how to fit their engine.
Sorry, but I gotta see how you guys get the out of here. I'm serious.
You're serious? Get the out of here?
Because
so you're taking our other pro dude to help you, and you're telling us to get the out of here. Let's go. Let's go.
See, no, that's totally different.
That's cool. Don't even worry about it. Get the out of here.
What got me irritated was the fact that the guys always come back, trade little things, little barbs, have fun, and go over and see how the other car's coming along. My guys ask, can we go over and check out the other car? I tell them, yeah. Next thing I know, Ray's yelling at him.
Did you see the motor mount?
What is it? Tell me. Told us to get the out of there. You know, there's no reason to be a. We've been cool with the rest of the team. That's the first that said anything. We have 2 totally different motors, but we got to get the out of there. You know, that's just a in my book.
Right, so right now, essentially they're us with a power steering line, but keep that in the back of your heads whenever they want some more help. At this point, you guys need to put your game faces on. We're about 4 hours behind. You need to catch the up.
All right, let's go.
Coming up.
There's supposed to be 2 power steering lines. There was only 1. You guys grabbed.
Hey, Ray, why don't you go to your side?
How?
Now you're being like a bitch again.
I'm not
go
being
over
a
there.
being a
Go over
bitch
there.
again?
Yeah.
What the are you talking about?
With 28 hours remaining, the pressure to finish the cars has taken its toll. And tensions are rising between Shinbone Alley and Sledgeville.
No, get out of here. Hey, dude, did you just hear that? All that just happened right now? We went over there to go check that out, and the dude told us to get the out.
Who did?
The other dude like you.
Well, when they need their power steering pump or,
I know you've been helping them, which is cool. When you start acting like a bitch, we start coming in to want to whoop your ass. No, get the out of my face.
In my shop, I expect professional behavior, you know, especially from my lead techs.
Before this goes any further, I want to be very clear on something.
Go ahead.
We were running around doing our thing. I come over for a power steering line because there's supposed to be 2 power steering lines. There was only 1. You guys grabbed it. No big deal. I asked Brad to verify which one it was. I said, well, if you're going to use that one, then I want to take your old one. He won't let us take the old one until you guys are completely done with your setup, and then we can have it. So if it's going to be a game like that, that's when I said, okay, at this point...
Hey, Ray, why don't you go to your side? Because that's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Now you're being like a bitch again.
I'm not being a bitch again?
Yeah. Tell my guys to off. You tell my guys to off when they come over to see you guys.
You said get out of here.
And now you're telling stories? That's not how
I'm not telling any stories.
I told you, just listen. I told you when I'm ready to get my motor in and we know which one's going to fit, then I'll talk.
You told me that you're using a new one because you know that one's going to fit. I said, well, then, can we have the old one?
And I said, as soon as we know when we get our motor in.
As soon as we put ours together.
Hey, don't cut yours in the engine challenge just to win, and you'd have one. Anybody can win the engine challenge by just cutting every wire and every hose. It's not my fault that their team cut the power steering hose.
Everybody on that team has been totally cool with me. I've been talking to everybody. Everybody's cool. I went over there, and you're the only one who told me to off.
If you're a competitor and you want to win, sometimes emotions take over. When Ray was taking something out on my team that he had no business taking out, I was there to, watch their back.
With tension still lingering, both teams pick up where they left off in a heated race to get their engines in.
It's hitting the rack. Can't have it rubbing against the rack.
We're having a problem with the engine. The HEI is hitting the windshield, and the pulley's hitting the rack and pinion. It's just like fitting a square in a circle. It's just not fitting.
We're very limited. Rack and pinion up front and the firewall in the back. There's just no give. There's no place to go.
Dude, it's touching literally a thousandth of an inch.
We want to move this towards the driver's side.
The idea actually came from Brad. Let's try it again. Let's just make sure. Let's get a light down there. I really want to see it. And sure enough, by loosening up the transmission, these guys moved it just enough, and you know what? I saw that light go right through there.
We've got it. It is a sheet of paper, but we've got it. Once we got the motor in, we tried to fit both the power steering lines. Neither one of them worked. Now we got to fab something up.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the garage, Shinbone Alley is finally ready to fire up their engine.
Ready?
Having successfully fired their engine first, the blue team, Shinbone Alley, can move on to paint and now have taken the lead. While Shinbone Alley preps for paint, Ray and Jeff try to solve a lingering problem.
I'll get on the power steering line because a rumor I heard is that line doesn't even work. They actually fab the line up. Just take a look and see if you got those fittings for that line. We were able to find some pieces laying around the shop, so we fabbed up our own power steering line, and we'll be ready to install it right after paint. It's going to require us taking this line, bending it, doing a 90, and coming into the back of the pump with a double flare fitting.
On the other side of the garage, Sledgeville is close behind.
Get this thing fired, Job.
Light it, yeah.
Try it. To hear this motor that we put in run is a big obstacle that's overcome.
Kill it. All right, guys, there you go. Nice job.
Shinbone Alley is now wheeling their car into paint,
Straighten it out. Cut it back just a little bit.
while Sleddsville is still working on their body modifications, falling way behind.
What I've opted to do is get rid of the factory rubber, which is very hideous looking. Try to make this look like it's a steel car. Make it look like it's one-piece stamped.
This type of modifications that we've done to this vehicle, they're gonna like it or they're not, but we still stay true to what we do.
These guys have been sanding on that car forever. I watch these guys put Bondo on, sand it off, Bondo on, sand it off. And if they don't get into the booth, there's no way they're ever gonna win. We're way, way behind. We should have, both teams are way behind. These cars are kicking our butts this time.
We're looking at paint. Our deadline is
Yesterday?
exactly, yes, 5 hours from now. But
What do you mean deadline 5 hours from now? Done?
in the booth.
In the booth in 5 hours. It would seem as this build just goes on and on and on. I mean, these guys are really coming up with some obstacles and such, but progress really seems quite slow.
I'm pretty stressed because we fell behind due to other things mechanically, but we already made a commitment to do the body modifications that we were doing, so it's too late to turn and try to change strategy. So we have to march forward and make these things happen. But
Back in the paint booth, Shinbone Alley is racing ahead on their paint job.
The paint, I want to go a copper and do some pearl white inlays.
Can't get no edges, you can't do nothing. You got a quarter and a half of paint.
It ain't gonna work.
Unfortunately, when people get tired, things get misplaced. They couldn't find the paint they needed anywhere.
All the ones that are close to that color, take 07. I'm so mad right now I can't even stand here. Some major decisions right here, man. I'm trying to find another color that's going to go with what we got with the interiors, man. I mean, the interior's already been matched to it. Damn it.
Out of ideas, Jeff begins to panic about having to change the color of the car this late into the competition.
This is all we got, man. The interior's done.
If I turn the fluid back anymore, it's just gonna start sputtering.
Coming up,
Guys, that's it. It's going in the booth.
I wonder what color this is. Fool's gold?
They've literally painted themselves into a corner.
What a disappointment.
with just over 15 hours left in the build, the blue team is in a panic, trying to figure out how to finish their paint job.
I'm so mad right now I can't even stand here.
We got down and we were running out of paint and the car wasn't covered.
Luckily, Ray has some valuable advice.
A lot of times teams actually, they don't use a full one, they'll set it down. I would just triple it.
I'll triple date.
In a 48-hour build, it's easy to miss things. I've seen this a lot, so I figured Jeff should have another look.
Ray, I don't know how you did that, but that's pretty slick.
A quart of paint showed up in the paint room. Something was on top of it and we didn't get to see it. So I had Chad take that and just do the top of the car so that the top of the car was colored, and then spray in the sides of the car, and then come back and do the airbrushing, stripe between the copper and the black, and it just came out really bitchin'.
While Shinbone Alley is almost done with their paint job, Sleddsville still hasn't put their car into the booth, spending the last 10 hours modifying the exterior, and Brad finally puts his foot down.
Guys, that's it. It's going in the booth. You can take it in the booth like this and have a piece of that's painted, or you can leave it out and have a piece of that's not painted. We've had to pull the guys back, tell them, rethink what you're doing, because we're eating hours. And, you know, unfortunately, they had some great ideas, but man, this thing had to get in the booth, or they're never going to get it done.
Both teams in paint, Kiwi from Sleddsville and Craig from Shinbone Alley, are now able to concentrate on their plans for their interiors.
We're going to try and retro this thing a little. So the interior is going to be a throwback to late 60s Corvettes.
All right, it kind of fits. If I shove it up in there real far, it fits.
The plan for the interior, I'm going to go with a two-tone suede. I think we chose like a chocolate and a gray to pick off the colors of the paint. Usually I take about 3 months to do an interior, so this is going to be quite a challenge to do it in 48 hours.
As time slips away, the blue team is nearing completion with their paint. Jeff has finished pinstriping and applying his secret dry brushing technique, leaving Chad to apply the clear coat. Meanwhile, Sleddsville comes up with a paint recipe for disaster.
I wonder what color this is. Is this a color they made up themselves? Like fool's gold? The fact is, they chose to paint it over a yellow base. Should have been a gray base. What a disappointment.
The hours are flying off the clock, and Shinbone Alley is finally wheeling their car out of paint. This means they've taken the lead, and Sleddsville has quite a bit of catching up to do. Feeling the time crunch, Sleddsville is forced to take drastic measures to fix their paint fiasco.
They've literally painted themselves into a corner to where they've got to go with the world's darkest color. It's going to be black.
Black covers everything. And then we're going to do a gold flake over everything and pray for the best.
With less than 3 hours left in the build, Jimmy brings the action to a halt.
Hey guys, take a break for a minute. Relax. Stop the clock. What we've got here is a simple welding test. The winning team of this challenge is going to win an extra hour to work on their car.
Right now, it's very crucial to win this extra hour. If we don't win this extra hour, there's a possibility this car will not get done.
An hour of build time per team times 7 crew members. That really equates to 7 extra hours. Both teams can use it. These right here, these are gas tanks. So I want an exact replica. Red team, go ahead and have a look at that. This is what I'm expecting. Now, I'm not gonna tell you how to do it or who's gonna do it. I don't care if one guy on the team does it or if all guys pitch in. But at the end of the competition, back, done, and in this box. If it holds water and the other team's leaks, you win. If they both hold water, well, then it becomes a beauty contest. I put 30 minutes on the clock, and that's all you're gonna get. So in 30 minutes, these gas tanks are gonna be formed and welded and back here in these squares. You guys understand?
Yeah.
Good? All right, well, that clock starts now.
This metal ain't even straight, dude.
Piece of steel, Jasper?
First, each team must use a box break to bend the pre-cut sheet metal into a box. Then they must decide which type of welder to use.
We got MIG. Give me juice off this.
The red team forms their box first and fires up their MIG welder 5 minutes into the competition.
Tag it, tag it, tag it.
The blue team has also chosen to MIG weld and is hot on their heels.
Funny, nobody chose to actually TIG weld these things. MIG is metal inert gas, so that's a wire feed welder, which is fine for building, you know, a trailer hitch. This is TIG welded right here. That means tungsten inert gas. It has an electric flame and you add the rod. A lot more control and a very pretty weld.
Jimmy from Sleddsville has decided to give TIG welding a shot, while Matt from Shinbone Alley continues to MIG weld and seems to be having trouble.
I'm not a sheet metal welder and was not ready for the equipment that we were using.
This is all boogered up, dude.
I just can't get it dialed in. Chad tries. He's more apt to weld thin steel with the body work that he does.
You got 5 minutes, guys. Go, Jimmy!
With the blue team trailing and with less than 5 minutes left,
Let's put water in it, Dad. I think you're all right.
the red team puts their welding to the test.
Just wash it around, Jeff. Is there a leak? There's not one.
No leaks, homie?
They're already waterproof. That we did already is not waterproof. Basically, where I went wrong is letting somebody else try to adjust my welder as I was welding, and it went downhill real quick.
On my hand and on its bottom.
All right, well, how far are these guys?
We ain't gonna make it in 2 minutes. We just kind of basically forfeited the welding challenge. Once you get a few holes burnt in a waterproof weld, you might as well just start over.
Congratulations, you guys won the challenge. Thank you.
Winning this welding challenge is huge. An extra hour gained on our clock is it's giant.
While Shinbone Alley soaks up their loss and maps out a game plan, Sleddsville seizes their last chance to stay in the competition, wheeling their Black Beauty out of paint and putting their extra hour to work. With only 60 minutes, the red team must do everything they can to catch up to the blue team.
If we hadn't just won that team challenge and got that extra hour, I don't know where we'd be. Man, I'm having to walk the car and find areas from suspension to interior to motor. It's everything needs to be touched. This is going to be tight. All right, we're in.
While Sledsville's been scrambling to get back into the game, Shinbone Alley's been itching to return to the action, and Jimmy has some good news.
All right, guys, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go back to work.
With 2.5 hours left, the blue team is back in business, cleaning up their paint job, jamming away on the interior, and adding as many pieces as possible.
As soon as that hour was up, we went back and we kicked ass, and everybody just got down to what they had to do.
Door panels have to get on, guys. Without that, we don't have a complete interior.
All right, teams, you're down to 30 minutes.
Both teams must throw it into overdrive to complete whatever they can before time runs out.
Driver's seat's the most important, don't forget.
Yeah. Try to screw in that hole and tighten those up. What's going on with this?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up, gentlemen.
Coming up.
You guys have the dubious honor of being latest into the paint booth ever. Jeff?
Yes, sir.
What's this whole dry brushing thing? That's kind of crazy. Bring it down!
The teams have battled through their builds for 48 hours. It's time to see how their Corvettes came together.
I'm very proud of my guys. Everybody was diverse in what we did, and in the end result, it showed.
I think Jimmy's going to be very impressed with the way it all came together.
The red team, they built a fine automobile, but I do believe we've won. The hood on the car with the scoop, it looks like a racy car. I think we did it.
The teams may have their views, but only one man's verdict can determine the victor.
This 48 hours is just killer. There's so many different things to weigh out here. Paint, body, interior, engine bay, design concept. Then I take it out and I test it. I drive it. I want to see how well it accelerates, brakes, handles, steers. It's all going to weigh heavy on Judgment Day.
It's now time to test the red team Sledsville's Corvette.
Let's try this thing out.
To rate performance, Jimmy puts each car to the test in a slalom and drag course.
They focused a lot on the suspension and the brakes, and I like that. They went with the 6-piston bare brakes. They also chose the Hankook Ventus radial tires. Soft compound, good traction, works really good in the slalom, even better at the drag strip. Corvettes, they do handle quite well. But these guys, I think they made it handle even better.
Next up, the Corvette designed by the blue team, Shinbone Alley.
The 1986 Corvette. They didn't have time to put the bare brakes on it. They did choose, however, to put on this zipped front hood package. Nice, kind of gives it that cowl induction look. You know what, it handles exactly the way I thought it should. Motor makes a ton of power, lights these tires up good. Not bad at all. Good job, guys.
Now, Jimmy returns to the garage to deliver his results.
These are tough cars.
Absolutely.
Probably the toughest cars we've ever had in this competition. You guys really tried to accomplish a lot on this car in a short amount of time. You guys removed the headlights from this whole hood assembly, glassed that all in, relocated the headlights down into the front of the bumper there. You also did the custom 50 Pontiac taillights. It's kind of unique. I haven't seen that done before. Interior. I tell you what, nice example of what you can do. I'm looking at this French seam on these seats, all these different panels. It's not complete, but what you did do is really nice. Let's move on to paint. You spent so much time working on the body and doing the brakes and working on interior at the same time, you didn't save a whole lot of time to take it into the paint booth. Quite honestly, I think you guys have like the dubious honor of being the team latest into the paint booth ever. You guys did 4 paint jobs in the course of about 4 hours, so that's about an hour of paint job. So I'm looking at this last paint job right here. If this is what you guys can do in 1 hour, That's pretty impressive as well. Overall, give you guys an A for effort. You got it done. You didn't quit. That's what this whole competition's about. Shinbone Alley. I like your choice in colors. That house of colors shimmering too. I really like that metal flake in there. But there is something quite unique on this car that I've actually never seen before. Jeff?
Yes, sir?
What's this whole dry brushing thing? I mean, that's kind of crazy. I see like purples, greens, yellows.
You know, it's a technique I came up with years ago, and I thought it looked like petrified wood, and I thought how cool if it had pearls in it.
Thank you. Something unique. Never seen it here before or anywhere else.
I do appreciate that.
Look at this interior, and I tell you what, I see some really nice stuff here. Not all of it. I'd like to see more. There's some nice work in these seats. We get back here to this rear package tray. Dave, you spent a lot of time on that. And I see exactly where you were going with this. See that detail in here, the way that it rises up, dips in the center? Very much like this cowl induction hood. Rises up, has that dip in the center. That's trying to maintain that theme, continuity between the outside of the car and the inside of the car. Good job. Ray, great job.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Brad, as always, great job. Thanks.
Good work, you guys. All right, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Good job. Both teams, you guys did an excellent job. Very tough competition, problematic vehicles, the toughest I've ever seen. Hang loose. I'll be back with my decision.
While Jimmy wraps up the judging, Brad and Ray settle some unfinished business.
You're using a new one because you know that one's going to fit. I said, well, then, can we have the old one?
And I said, as soon as we know when we get our motor in.
As soon as we put ours together.
Hey, don't cut yours in the engine challenge just to win, and you'd have one. I jumped the gun, and I said stuff I shouldn't have said, and I apologize.
Happens. I stuck my foot in my mouth plenty of times in my life. But I was raised to go make it right, and that's all I was doing.
And I didn't know that, and that's what I'm doing now.
Fine.
So,
Fine.
okay?
It's good.
All right, man.
After 48 hours of insane construction, Jimmy has driven and scrutinized each team's car. The moment of truth has arrived. Jimmy Shine has left to weigh out his judgment. The teams anxiously await the outcome.
It was a hard task to build a car in such a short amount of time, especially a car that has a completely different medium than what we do. But, you know, we did 20 times more as far as fabrication, body mods, and mechanics.
When I step back and I look at both vehicles, it looked like to me we followed through with the vision that we had from the game plan.
Sledsville, Shinbone Alley. Both teams, you guys did an excellent job. Very tough competition, problematic vehicles, the toughest I've ever seen. Now I've got a tough job to do. I need to decide who's going to win this. One team's going to leave here tonight with the car they worked so hard to build. There's going to be another team that's going to be leaving here tonight with nothing. Sledsville, you guys came into this competition. The car was revealed, fiberglass car. You guys work in metal. You guys, be proud of what you've done. That's a hell of a thing to do and accomplish. Nice. Shinbone Alley, you came in here, you knuckled down. Nice job with the dry brushing on the Zip Corvette hood, and even though you didn't complete it, nice job on the interior. Nice attempt. And it gives me a great pleasure to award the winning team of the toughest competition we've ever had, the 1986 Corvette competition. The winning team, Shinbone Alley. Good job. It was a tough one.
I think the right car won. I seriously didn't think that a car could be done in 48 hours. Man, we got in here and we did it, and thanks to everybody, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
In spite of losing this competition, I'm very proud of my guys. Everybody worked very, very hard and never gave up once. Both teams kicked ass.
Both teams really had the odds stacked against them. But you know what? Shinbone Alley came through in the end. It came down to paint, interior, overall performance, the engine challenge. All those things combined, Shinbone Alley built a better car.